Okay, hello, assalamualaikum and good evening. My name is Nozia from Indonesia and my metric number is DGD201010. Today I'm gonna discuss about what is basic camera. Okay, what is SLR? SLR is mean a single lens reflex camera. SLR is a camera that typically use a mirror and prism system hand reflect from the mirror reflection that permits the photographer to view through the lens and see exactly what will be captured. And then what is the DSLR? DSLR is mean a digital single lens reflex camera. Digital SLR or DSLR is a digital camera that combines the optics and the mechanism of a single lens reflex camera with a digital imaging sensor. Here you can see the example of the DSLR camera and SLR camera. Next is what is mirrorless camera? A mirrorless camera is a type of camera that works without a reflex mirror. Light passes through the lens directly to the digital sensor, which then display your image on the camera LCD screen, allowing you to adjust setting and preview your image before it's shot. And here the example of mirrorless digital camera. And now I'm going to explain to you about what type of lens. The first lens is kit lens. A kit lens is a starter lens which can be sold with an interchangeable lens camera such as single lens reflex camera. The kit consists of the camera body, the lens and various accessories usually necessary to get started in SLR photography. Okay, the next one is zoom lens. A zoom lens is a mechanical assembly of lens elements for which the focal length and thus angle of view and be varied of opposed to a fixed focal length FFL lens. A true zoom lens, also called a perfocal lens, is one that maintains focus when its focal length change. And next is macro lens. Macro lens that has the ability to focus from infinity to 1:1 magnification, meaning that the size of the image in real life is the same size as it reproduced on the sensor. Macro lens also allow for closer focusing distance than normal lens and often require you to get very close to your subject. Next is the fisheye lens. A fisheye lens is an ultra wide angle lens that produces strong visual distortion intended to create a wide panoramic or hemispheric image. Next one is prime lens. Prime lens in film and photography. A prime lens is a fixed focal length photographic lens as opposed to a zoom lens, typically with a maximum aperture from f2.8 and to f1.2. The term can also mean the primary lens is in a combination lens system. Okay, the next one is wide angle lens. In photography and cinematography, a wide angle lens refers to a lens whose focal length is substantially smaller than the focal length of a normal lens for a given film plane. This lens allows you to have a wide scenery angle. Art lens, the next one is art lens. They are lenses created for image that give sharpest detail a photography can possibly aim for. They also have a high aperture f1.4, f2.8. So in a more specific photography term, art lenses, even the widest opening, exhibit essential focal plane sharpness. And here is the example picture of taken by each lens, as you can see. Okay, the next chapter is exposure. Exposure is the amount of light that being exposed to a sensor camera or film. The more you expose it to light, more lighter your photo will be. Okay, and here you can see the example of picture. And underexposed is a result of the camera sensor or film not hitting enough light. Overexposed, the film or camera sensor hitting too much light, and the taken photo will be so bright. And the shutter speed. Shutter speed is the speed of how shutter is open in time. And next one is aperture. Aperture is when light passes through which of the opening of lens diaphragm, shrink or enlarge the lens to allow more light or less to reach your camera sensor, and it create a bokeh effect, like a portrait. And the next one is ISO. The sensitivity of film is a light gathering ability. The higher ISO rating, the greater picture will capture in low light. ISO is sensitivity, the signal gain of the camera sensor. And here you can see the example of ISO 100, ISO 200, and ISO 400, and ISO 800. You can see the difference between them. And the next chapter is composition. Composition is how element of photo arranged. It's up to artists to put those things in their photograph to become more or less interesting to a viewer. If the picture is not entertaining you at all, maybe that's because the composition is off. Okay, and the next one is lines. Leading lines are just that lines that point you into the frame toward the subject. In addition to lines that lead into a composition, you can have multiple lines that converge into the frame or toward the subject. And next one is balance. Balance means the two main techniques of using balance in photography are formal balance and informal balance. In photography, balance is an important thing to have an image to create a fascinating photo. And you can see here an example of formal balance and informal balance. Okay, the next one is simplicity. Simplicity is when this technique is really simple, that you can find anything interested within your eye and try to capture it. And try to keep it simple and try to show your viewer the thing that you only want to show. And this is my photo that I captured. Next one is rule of third. The rule of third use a key intersection point and breaks the scene up into third vertical and horizontally. In the grid where this line intersect are the point where you should try to put your main subject. Okay, the last one is perspective. Perspective is a photo when there is a place or image like a tunnel from the frame of the camera until to the end of tunnel looks small. You can change angle from height to lower ground to make a photo more interesting. Okay, the next chapter is art photography. Fine art photography is a photography created in line with the vision of the photographer as an artist, using photography as a medium for creative expression. The goal of fine art photography is to express an idea, a message, or an emotion. The example of the photo. Okay, the next one is commercial photography. That is used to sell or promote a product or otherwise support a business or organization in making money and commercial. This is for attract more people who watching this commercial photo and attract with it. There are many different commercial photography, which is product photography, lifestyle photography, and fashion photography. And you can see the example of the image. Okay, the last one is journalism photography. Journalism photography is about process of storytelling using medium of photography. The photo must have a story behind it, and people could know what the story behind the photo. Take the picture whenever there is a moment happen around you to make a story behind it. Here's an example of me taking the picture. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you for listening and watching.